Okay, I've got three of the server power supplies mounted in here and all wired up. I'm using the welding connectors, the 400 amp welding connectors. Now the way it's wired up now, it's wired to 115 volts. Okay, so you're going to need a 30 amp service, 115 service to run it like this. It's going to give you 240 amps. However, all you have to do is change the end that's on the power cord to a 220 plug, and then you'll have 360 amps. Okay, now I've got the line, or the hot side, coming to the 20 amp switch there in the front. Okay, it's switching the hot side direct from the AC line. I've got the neutral coming into a 20 amp circuit breaker here in the back, and then being divided out to all three supplies. Okay, they're all connected together so they can talk to each other. All right, and the AC and case are both grounded right there. Okay, the green wires coming from the AC line cord, and it and the grounds from the power supplies are all connected to that one bolt right there going into the case. Okay, that's the power LED. That's the digital voltmeter. And again, this is a 30 amp circuit breaker that we're using for a power switch on the front. The hot or line side, the black wire, is coming into one side of this switch. The other side of the switch has all of the hot side or line side of the AC going to the power supplies coming in on the other side of that switch. All right. And like I said, I even have a circuit breaker on the neutral side. Okay. All three power supplies are connected to the neutral side there. And I'm using the heat shrink with the adhesive inside of it for all the electrical connections. And there will be warnings placed on the cabinet telling you that there's no serviceable parts inside and danger of electrocution if you open it up. Okay. So don't go inside of this. All right. Now, like I was telling you, all you have to do is change the connector on the AC cord to a 220 volt connector, and your electrician, when you get him to install the 220 volt socket, he will know how to wire this up to 220. Okay. And once it's a 220, this becomes a 360 amp power supply. Okay, and those welding connectors back there are rated at 400 or 450 amps. Okay, so you should be good to go. And of course, the handles, well, I call them handles, but they're not handles. They're actually the connector ends. That's going to be for your cable. You'll connect your cable to these. You'll see how to do that in the back once you take the insulation off of it. They're good, heavy-duty connectors, okay? And here's where they're going to connect into, right there. Now, to switch this thing over to 220, it's really simple. These are smart power supplies, okay? They sense the AC input voltage coming into this end of it. I still got to wire up the fan, put the cover on, the case on it. I got to find my variac. I don't remember where I put it. It's around here somewhere. Okay, but all you got to do to switch this thing over to 220, get your electrician to cut the end off of this. Okay, this is a good heavy duty cable. All right, this is a 30 amp cable. and have him install this connector for your 220. Now, I don't remember the part number of these, but it's a 20 amp 220 plug. Okay, he'll know how to wire it up. That's all there is to it. Just have him put that on the end of the cable, plug it into the 220 socket, and you're rocking at 220. The power supplies will switch automatically. They sense what the input voltage is. All right. Okay. Like I said, still got to install the fan, wire it up, get the covers back on the case. I will label everything. And of course, I'm going to run it for a while to make sure that it's, you know, when you get it, it's going to be just fine. As you can see, I've got every one of the power supplies mounted with 2 of Reaper's power supply mounting brackets. Okay. Alrighty, more to come. Alright, I got everything installed now. Just dressing up the wiring. And I might ought to put a wire tie right there. Put those together. But there is the, well, we're using this for an on-off switch. It's a 30 amp breaker. Okay, it's on the front there. I swapped out that 20 amp breaker for a 30 amp breaker for the neutral side. The line side is the one, the black wire is the one to go into the switch here in the front. That's considered the hot side. Okay. And of course the ground wire coming from the ground plug is connected to the chassis. Right there. Along with the ground wires from all 3 of the 1200 watt power supplies. Okay. Now in this configuration, running on 115 volts, you got 240 amps. If we switch this connector on the end of this power cable over to 220, and of course if you plug it into a 220 socket, then you will have a 360 amp power supply, because these things are capable of 120 amps apiece. Okay. There's your digital voltmeter there in the front. That's the LED and holder. Okay. I'm going to show you the fan. That fan's going to run all the time. The power supply's on. Okay. You want that to keep these guys cool, because if they kick on, all 3 of the fans on these guys kick on high, wow, it's going to be really, really loud. Alright, now that fan sounds loud right now because I've got the cover open, but just wanted to show that to you. 14.9 volts. Alright, okay, more to come. Okay, something else I wanted to show you. When you first power this thing up, there's a slight delay, okay? It's because these guys are talking to each other. You know, these 3 guys. I don't know if I can get it where you can see all 3 of the LEDs or not, but we can see these first 2. When I turn the power on, it doesn't come on right away, but you see the green LEDs come on all of these. And then they go off one by one, and one kicks on. Okay, so don't be alarmed by that delay. When you first turn it on, this power supply is talking to each other. And once they see who each other is, then all the magic starts. Okay? Alrighty. Of course, though, when you do shut it off, it goes off quick. Alright, more to come. Okay, just wanted to show you how noisy the fan is, or not noisy the fan is. Okay, let's turn that back off. Show you this again. I'm going to turn it on so you can. Alright, sorry, trying to do this with one hand. My other hand shakes too much. Okay, I'm going to turn it on so you can see the delay, and then hear the fan come on so you can see how loud the fan is, or how not loud the fan is. It's not that bad. Probably going to be quieter than your amplifier fans. Yeah, it's not bad at all. But it's going to keep those server power supplies in there cool. Now, I did not close off that hole or put screens over that hole there in the back because I don't want to impede the airflow coming out of this thing. Okay? But make sure that nothing gets stuck up inside there, because the bus, all three power supplies, is in that rear area. And I would recommend that you use either 2-aught, or if you can, I would use 1-aught cable to run that amplifier, that 16-pin. Make sure you get plenty of current to it. Like it stands right now, running on 115, it's producing 240 amps. Once you bump it up to 220, and I'm going to include this connector with it, okay? You have to get your electrician when he wires up the socket for it there at your home. Just get him to wire it in on the end of this plug. Just cut that one off, wire that one on. But if you run it on 115 with 240 amps, then you're going to need a 115 volt supply. In other words, your socket is going to need to be a 30 amp for 115, something like an RV socket. No, I'm sorry, totally out to lunch there. 115 volt 30 amp service on a regular plug. Okay, they make 30 amp plugs that you can plug this into. This is 12 gauge wire. Okay, so it's heavy duty. It's made to carry the 30 amps. All right, and that's what this guy's going to draw when you start really pushing it hard. Okay. All right. Well, sir, I'm going to put the labeling on the front and the Hornet stickers, and get her all boxed up and shipped out so you can start using that 16-pin Hornet, that 816 Hornet. Okay, more to come.